Samuel Taylor Coleridge, the 21st of October 1772, the 25th of July 1834, was an English poet, literary critic, philosopher and theologian who, with his friend William Wordsworth, was a founder of the Romantic movement in England and a member of the Lake Poets. He also shared volumes and collaborated with Charles Lamb, Robert Southey, and Charles Lloyd. He wrote the poems The Rime of the Ancient Mariner and Kublai, as well as the major prose work Biographia Literaria. His critical work, especially on William Shakespeare, was highly influential, and he helped introduce German idealist philosophy to English-speaking culture. Coleridge coined many familiar words and phrases, including suspension of disbelief. He had a major influence on Ralph Waldo Emerson and on American transcendentalism. Coleridge is one of the most important figures in English poetry. His poems directly and deeply influenced all the major poets of the age. He was known by his contemporaries as a meticulous craftsman who was more rigorous in his careful reworking of his poems than any other poet, and Southey and Wordsworth were dependent on his professional advice. His influence on Wordsworth is particularly important because many critics have credited Coleridge with the very idea of conversational poetry. The idea of utilizing common, everyday language to express profound poetic images and ideas for which Wordsworth became so famous may have originated almost entirely in Coleridge's mind. It is difficult to imagine Wordsworth's great poems, The Excursion or The Prelude, ever having been written without the direct influence of Coleridge's originality. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Christabel, and Kublai. Coleridge is probably best known for his long poems The Rime of the Ancient Mariner and Christabel. Even those who have never read the rhyme have come under its influence. Its words have given the English language the metaphor of an albatross around one's neck, the quotation of water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink, almost always rendered as but not a drop to drink, and the phrase a sadder and a wiser man, usually rendered as a sadder but wiser man. The phrase all creatures great and small may have been inspired by the rhyme, He prayeth best, who loveth best. All things both great and small. For the dear God who loveth us. He made and loveth all. Christabel is known for its musical rhythm, language, and its Gothic tale. Kublai Khan, or, A Vision in a Dream, a fragment, although shorter, is also widely known. Both Kublai Khan and Christabel have an additional romantic aura because they were never finished. Stopford Brooke characterized both poems as having no rival due to their exquisite metrical movement and imaginative phrasing. The Conversation Poems. The Aeolian Harp, 1795. Reflections on Having Left a Place of Retirement, 1795. This Lime Tree Bower My Prison, 1797. Frost at Midnight, 1798. Fears in Solitude, 1798. The Nightingale, A Conversation Poem, 1798. Dejection, an Ode, 1802. To William Wordsworth, 1807. The 8 of Coleridge's poems listed above are now often discussed as a group entitled Conversation Poems. A current standard edition is the collected works of Samuel Taylor Coleridge, edited by Kathleen Coburn and many others from 1969 to 2002. Collected works of S.t.Coleridge. Lectures 1795 on Politics and Religion. The Watchman. Essays on his times in the Morning Post and the Courier. The Friend. Lectures, 1808 to 1819, on literature. Lay Sermons. Biographia Literaria. Lectures 1818 to 1819 on the history of philosophy. Aids to Reflection. On the Constitution of the Church and State. Shorter Works and Fragments. Marginalia. Logic. Table Talk. Opus Maximum. Biographia Literaria. In addition to his poetry, Coleridge also wrote influential pieces of literary criticism including Biographia Literaria, a collection of his thoughts and opinions on literature which he published in 1817. The work delivered both biographical explanations of the author's life as well as his impressions on literature. The collection also contained an analysis of a broad range of philosophical principles of literature ranging from Aristotle to Immanuel Kant and Schelling, and applied them to the poetry of peers such as William Wordsworth. Coleridge's explanation of metaphysical principles were popular topics of discourse in academic communities throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, and T.S. Eliot stated that he believed that Coleridge was perhaps the greatest of English critics, and in a sense the last.